So, Mark, did you see that video of them taking down the wrap on Treasure Island? Rumor is they need to sell ads now to pay for last week's giveaway.
I mean, Phil Ruffin's got lots of money, so I hope that he would just give some of it. But I did some research, and he has kids, and guess what his son runs?
What?
The Hyatt Regency in Wichita, Kansas.
It all comes full circle then. Nobody's going to get that but us, but okay. So let's follow up on the Treasure Island stuff, Mark. We recorded before they ended it, and I was able to cut it together to make it look all good. But as predicted, they ended it early, and this jumped the shark. We saw all kinds of crazy stories online, from people pooping on the floors to them waiting 5 hours in line the last night and getting cut off and not getting their money. So this really didn't end well for Treasure Island, I don't think.
Yeah, that's the one that bothers me the most, is people that because each night it seemed like at a certain time they'd say, all right, nobody is allowed to enter the line from this point on. Anybody in line will get taken care of. But it seems like the last night they said, oh, sorry, I know we told you that you'd be taken care of, but you still stood here and get out of line, like go away, we're done. And that's just kind of crazy. I don't think that's right at all. And they should have, one, brought in more people as soon as this kind of took off. Like the second day, by the third day for sure, they should have had more people working it. But I could see why this would bring in like the certain clientele that you might not want, or just like every person from Vegas that hasn't showered in a couple weeks. Like it could get kind of seedy and gross, and people taking poop. I don't know that anybody did that. I feel like that's a made up story. But if somebody did, wouldn't completely shock me. Maybe peeing somewhere would be more likely. But if you're in line and you're by yourself and nobody's around, you really have to go. Knowing you get out of line, you're out of it. I don't know. Maybe it did happen.
I mean, it wouldn't be a first for Vegas. Just don't head to the bathroom, something more important happening. I think other casinos would have given up on this sooner. So I guess kudos to them for keeping it going for the 3 days. And I did sort of speak to the Tuscany thing, to, like you say, there are a lot of unhoused people that come for these promotions. And I think that it's great that they're able to take advantage of them. It's just a matter of, is that what the business wants? And there's a lot of give and take there. I also noticed with the Tuscany promotion when I was there that there was people taking people off the street and then giving them money to get the free play themselves. And then the person would fund the whole thing and do that. And I imagine that happened too. In 2026, you're never going to be able to do this. Anything overly generous is going to happen, because even normal tourists who were just here on vacation saw this go viral on social media and went and lined up too. So every single person did it.
Yeah, and one person was like, oh, we wasted all this time, and then we didn't end up getting it, and that was our last night in Vegas. And that's kind of the discussion we had, like, where's the cutoff? What are you willing to do for this? And maybe it should have just gone out to targeted people, or anybody that already has a players club, like email them to bring them back in if they haven't been there in a while. Like, I don't think that this should have just been like, anybody off the street at this level, if they weren't prepared for it, and if they didn't have the setup for it. If they could have moved through the people a lot quicker, then maybe they wouldn't have had these issues. But it seems like they're like, hey, it went out there. Okay, we'll let it go. But we're just going to have our normal work crew of like 3 people working in here. And that's what it is.
Another crazy story from last week was the Oyo Collection O palette controversy, and
O-face.
not a lot of fallout from that, except for my lack of being able to know that reference. That was the biggest fallout. I don't know if anything legally is going to happen. All the big hotel sites like Expedia Hotels, Booking.com, all of them have said they're investigating. The listings have been taken down. So it seems like the wrongs have been righted. I don't know that anything like legal will come of this, but it is shady, and it's over. I don't think you can find any of the listings anymore.
I could see them maybe if I was Expedia and they did this on my site, I'd just kick them off. Wouldn't allow them to come back on, even as Oyo or whatever, unless there's some reason for this. Somebody went rogue and did something like this. I just would be like, no, that's enough. And I could see a class action coming from anybody that was duped by this. Maybe there's not enough people for that to have happened. It didn't last all that long, and there's not that many people staying there, but just goes to show that let's bring back Hooters, man. The world has kind of fallen apart since Hooters went away.
Well, the Hooters website's still up. You found this. I don't know who sent this to you or if you randomly stumbled upon it, but I clicked through everything and it's all still working, except for like when you go to book a room, because that goes to a third-party site that doesn't work. But who knew that somebody's still paying to keep the Hooters Las Vegas website up?
Yeah, I was just doing like some research with the whole Oyo thing, and was like trying to figure out more of what happened with Hooters and why they sold the casino and hotel. One of the Google searches, first thing that came up was the actual Hooters website. And I was like, oh, there's no way that's still working. So I clicked, yeah, who's paying this every year to keep it active? It still looks exactly like it did brings back a lot of good memories. Somebody just can easily take it back over.
Yeah, it's a crazy place. I mean, when you see AI images with the Tropicana Tower on there with the hotel name, like it's, I mean, just insanity. It's a story that keeps on giving. So we'll keep following up on see if any fallout happens from that. But let's talk news in the UFC HQ. A lot of people don't know it is in the southwest part of Las Vegas, just off the 215, and they built their headquarters there. They also have their like Apex venue, I guess. It has seats up to 1,200 people. They just improved it to have smaller events and stuff there. But they're also hinting at building out the 70 acres, a hotel maybe, a UFC hotel. Are you excited for that?
Well, the real question is what gets built first, the Bally's Hotel or UFC Hotel?
Well, I was trying to say Bally's for the next show, but now that you brought it up, Bally's doesn't have any money. They had to say, whoever that commenter that says I keep bringing up Bally's to trash them, please can you have them stop making news, because Bally's is out of money apparently. They did some stuff. We'll dive deeper because I'm waiting for more to come out of the story this week, but they did kind of say that they're having trouble paying their loans, or they're going to very soon, and they made that statement out to the wider world. So we'll have to keep an eye on Bally's for the future.
Is this a shock to anybody? I made the joke that they came up with this fictitious issue in Chicago to halt everything and try lawsuits and that type of thing. And maybe they just didn't have money and they wanted to try to save face there until they could figure it out. But it kind of seems like that could have been what happened.
There is a lot of value in their license in New York, or their ability to build a casino in New York and in Chicago. And then also the rights to the A's stadium site. All of those have value for the company. So it doesn't mean that they are gone. It just means that, hey, maybe they got to sell some stuff. And that's what they said. And remember, they bought so many casinos over the last 10 years. It's insane how many casinos they bought. So yeah, we'll see more with Bally's. We'll have more on that later in the week. But back to UFC, growing like crazy. And it's always nice. I always enjoy the fact that the brand is tied to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think that this is a good addition, and Dana White's always around Vegas, gambling right and left and doing all the videos, and he's really tied into Las Vegas. He's brought this massive company there, and I think that more expansion there makes sense for him, makes sense for Las Vegas, and it's cool to see.
Well, Mark, would it be cool to see your face 55 stories above Las Vegas? Well, that's what Palms is doing. 55 stories of fame is what they're calling it. And they are going to put different people's pictures on that big vertical screen on the side of their building for different activations. So they did it the first time last week, and they haven't said like, are you going to be able to pay to do this? It seems like it's going to be for certain events, and then they're going to use it sort of as publicity. But that is a thing that they are talking about. They're also talking about next week, their new non-smoking casino opens at Palms, and that is where the old Mabel's Barbecue was. So this will be a fully enclosed non-smoking casino, not like a little slot area. It'll have its own bar and everything else. And I think, we saw Plaza do their thing, and sort of that struggled a little bit. Obviously, Park MGM is an entire casino, but having this non-smoking enclosed area, they think that'll help.
Yeah, I think that having its own bar and everything in there, it makes it a bit more unique and a bit more of a standalone versus, like you said, where they just throw up some walls and it doesn't really feel all that different. It just feels kind of weird when you walk by or when you're in there. So I think that this could be a good addition to them. But the best thing about all this is the guy that spent all that money at Zoox nightclub could have just spent $12 on a shirt that said food stamps for Nico and then gotten up on the screen.
Aspirations, Mark. He has to be aspiring to do that. Yes, the big screens in Las Vegas. What can we put on them next? This episode is brought to you by Melio, our business-to-business payment partner, and they have a really awesome $230 gift card offer for you.
Yeah, all you need to do is make a $500 payment. Anybody that has a small business definitely has $500 in payments. So you set it up with Melio. They mail out a check. They can even do like ACH transfers. And if you make that $500 payment, you get a $230 gift card. Tons of brands, hundreds of brands. And then you get this business payment system set up that can make your life easier. You can also earn credit card points on payments you normally couldn't make with a credit card because they will mail that check out for you. So definitely check it out. Take advantage of the offer. Save yourself some money.
Emilio just upped the offer because of all of you guys. It was $200. Now it's $230 after making a $500 payment. Help support the show. Scan the QR code on the screen. Link and down in the description. Thanks to Melio for sponsoring this episode. So let's talk HOV lanes, Mark. We've been covering this story for a couple of years. Stavros Anthony, who's our lieutenant governor, he hates HOV lanes. And a couple of years ago, he fought successfully to regress the HOV lane so that only during specific hours are they carpool lanes and then they're regular lanes. And he's been trying to get rid of it. But it's very interesting in this story is they talk about all the federal money that they've gotten to build the freeways, and they're not quite sure if they can take out the high occupancy lanes. It's just an interesting ongoing battle. The state is trying to roll these back, and it doesn't seem like they're able to.
Yeah, I mean, you already limited it to hours during rush hour and things like that. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know that you need to do much more than that, and getting rid of them altogether. Okay, it's not going to change a whole lot. I do wonder, did these help traffic patterns at all? Did this help get more people to carpool? I don't feel like it ever did. If somebody has somebody riding with them, it probably would have been anyway. Or if you have a family, then you get to take advantage of these lanes. But I don't know that anybody's like, oh no, we got to take that HOV lane. So, you pick me up to work today, I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know that it ever kind of worked out the way it was intended to.
I just want to know what carpool lanes ever did to Stavros that he hates them this much. I don't know. I really don't have an opinion either way. I think probably I'm always happy when I have somebody with me and I can use the carpool lane, but I try to avoid the rush hour in Vegas. No, thank you. I try to avoid it. But let us know, do you want carpool lanes? Are they something that is good or bad?
Have you ever seen somebody driving down, you look over and it's one of the ticketing dolls driving next to him?
No, it's just a self-driving car, Mark, without any driver. That is the future of Las Vegas. And Chris Holmes had this where he went in and he did like a comparison at the same exact moment. And I think we're going to see more of this. I plan to do this myself. So it's always just a moment in time where you're standing, all of that. But he compared Zoox, Lyft, and Uber. And while Zoox came in about the same price as Uber, Lyft came in a few dollars cheaper. And I wanted to use this as a reminder for people. Lyft is often cheaper. So always check it compared to Uber. At the airport, we've talked about that a ton, but I've also noticed it elsewhere. And it kind of sucks to see that Zoox isn't really trying to price themselves any lower.
Yeah, you would think that it'd be a little bit of a discount there, at least down near where Lyft is. And you have to think about like Lyft, you're still going to have to do a tip, which really pushes it above where Zoox is. So you would like to see it down like in that $15 range, and then knowing that you don't have a driver to tip, or if you don't like the conversation. I've gotten some really good tips whenever I've been traveling from taxi drivers or Uber or Lyft drivers, so I don't mind that aspect of it too much. I do hate when it's like hot as balls in the car and you're like, can we turn on some air here?
Yeah, that is the cool thing about the Zoox is that you have full control over the climate, the audio, all of that sort of stuff. You just have to wonder how long before these autonomous companies figure out that they can get kickbacks for taking people to strip clubs and other places. And then the driverless car is just going to all of a sudden suggest, may I bring you to Crazy Horse 2 or something like that. You know that's coming.
Ah, man, it's the way of the world.
I don't know, but there will be more competition with Waymo and Tesla coming with their autonomous vehicles in the next year or two. And so hopefully that will keep prices lower. Not great for the Uber Lyft drivers. We should point that out. Some people are happy they don't have to leave tips on the autonomous stuff, but there is a whole ecosystem of drivers here, very important to the city, and I don't want to downplay that at all.
No, and we always talk about from the airport, a lot of times the actual cabs are the cheapest these days. So don't forget about those either. Sometimes it will come in that it's the best deal of them all, but I'm happy to support the people that are driving us around because I don't fully trust the technology here that we're seeing. So I'd rather get in the Lyft because it's so much cheaper than Uber. But yeah, that's where I would go out of these options.
So what happens in Las Vegas when a food court turns into a food hall? We have a follow-up on the Circus story, and I will give credit Vital Vegas. He's been sort of on top of this, getting the inside information. We know that the old operator didn't pay rent, and therefore they got closed out. But he is saying that the new operator, Tony Ravello, who runs Ravello Brands, and that's a lot of different restaurants here, wants to take over the space, and indeed is taking over the space and building out more unique concepts like Italian, ramen, those sorts of things that we see in the other food halls, but not like the national brands. It's funny because we talked on the last show, you said Panda Express, it's Pickup Sticks is actually in there. So it's funny because they had such generic national brands that we couldn't even figure out, okay, we know there's a Chinese fast food place there, but it's not Panda, it's Pickup. They need something unique. I don't know if this is going to fix anything, but it's probably better than what they had before.
Yeah, I think it will be kind of give you more options at least versus what you had before. So that's nice. But everybody commented they never really saw a ton of people in there. Wasn't run the best. I'm just kind of surprised that they're giving the entire thing to one person. And usually you imagine that everybody's renting out unique stalls and running it themselves. And there's some synergy that you can get from running it out to one person, makes it a little bit easier. But also if something like this, if they stop paying, then you lose everything just like you did. So I don't know. There's some risk involved there too.
Yeah, it seems like they don't want to operate it themselves. I think the previous operator spent all the money to develop the food hall, which was, I believe, part of the buffet before. I think they cut the buffet space down in order to put that there. So and it was very modern and generic, didn't really fit the rest of Circus, but looked nice, I guess, in a sort of generic way. So yeah, putting something more interesting and unique, the competition. I don't know. It's hard to get excited for these food halls at this point. I will say that the food is really good in most of them. I mean, the prices are insane. That's always the problem, is that you're paying $25 for a meal. And a generation ago, that was a pretty decent meal compared to fast food.
Yeah, that's what somebody commented on the last video. They're like, yeah, the problem is people go to Vegas, think, okay, I'm going to save some money by going to the food court or food hall. And then it ends up being like $45 for two people. And they're like, well, that sucked. I could have just gone to a restaurant. I'm not coming back. And then they get them once and then they don't come back because there's not the value proposition there that you expect when you're going for fast food pickup, grab and go.
In a second, we are going to talk about the newest Tiki bar coming to the Las Vegas Strip. And this is an exciting one. But before we do that, I'd love to invite you to subscribe. Thousands of you are watching. You're not subscribed. Just hit the button. Doesn't cost anything. Helps us reach more people. Thanks in advance. But before we talk Tiki, Mark, Matt Apple is closing at New York on Labor Day weekend, the latest Cirque show to close, which is difficult, but also it only had a run of, I think it opened in 2022. So it's the first Cirque show that this show has seen open and close, but it only lasted a few years, brought a lot of different style acts to Cirque and didn't work ultimately.
It seems like maybe Cirque's run its course for the most part. We've had a lot of closures over the last several years, and people just aren't filling up. I mean, they had to close down the upper balcony, so they weren't doing, I think it was seats for 1,200, and they were doing more like 600 to 800 person shows, which you think you should make some money, but these have huge casts and huge outlays, and they're just not really printing the money like they did when they first came out. I remember how exciting a Cirque show was or how unique it was. And maybe they just added too many of them. But there are a couple left. Which ones?
You have Mystere and you have O and you have...
Oh,
is that what you were waiting for? Were you really waiting for that? So to go back, it's O, Mystere, Ka, Michael Jackson 1, and then Matt Apple. I sort of miss Zumanity, though. I really love Zumanity, which was the Cirque show there before Matt Apple. Very adult themed, and it was sort of taking that adult Vegas into the Cirque realm. I always enjoyed that. But one thing that came in this Review Journal article, and let me read this word for word. A soft ticket buying market is reportedly the reason the show is going dark. Sales for production shows at MGM Resorts venues are reportedly down from about 65% capacity a decade ago to about 30% today. Their capacity is at 30%. How are they even? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm surprised more hasn't closed.
Yeah. We need that tickets for less or that ticket thing that you bought and didn't use for 2 years.
How come I can never get free tickets to anything? They're all going empty.
They need to get hooked up with Chris Angel's guy. They fill these seats.
That is a mind-blowing number to think about, all the millions of dollars spent and then 70% empty. And they are probably filling it with employees and other things, and they give out free stuff. But you're never going to be able to do something if you're only selling 30% of the seats. And I don't know where those stats come from, but they are published. I imagine they come from MGM. That's basically half the people are going to these shows as were 10 years ago.
Yeah, and you would think that, hey, roll this into promotions. Like, come on in, get a discounted room rate if you just gamble a little bit, and here's a free show ticket to these shows. And at least maybe they'll buy some concessions and other things. I know they tried to have like a happy hour before the show to kind of drive revenue there, which seems somewhat successful, but not successful enough. But maybe if you're getting more people in there, that will work. I mean, you might as well, you're paying for this. Why not have something happen there? I do think that right sizing, like we said, they just kind of jumped the shark with how many Cirque shows there were. These four kind of make sense. Mystere's like the original circus type of show. You have O, which has water involved. You have Ka with the crazy stage that's rotating. And then you have One, which is musical. So they all have something a little bit different, unique, that's kind of stands apart from each other. So maybe this is kind of the good mix that they needed.
And just remember, there are other Cirque shows that didn't do so well in the past. Zarkana didn't last all that long. Elvis's Cirque show didn't last all that long. So here we go into the future. What will they do with that showroom? Let us know what you guys think below. But we do know what Flamingo is doing with the outdoor area of Carlos and Charlie's. So this started for me a few days ago. I saw Carrie Balicki share a picture of a construction wall saying Tiki is coming soon, and then others have confirmed it. But Flamingo has not announced this officially yet. We don't have any official concept art or any statistics for this. Travel Ruby apparently created some AI concept art that Vital Vegas shared. I'll throw that up here. I think it looked pretty good and kind of gave us an idea of what this could look like. And Mark says that he's the one who said it should be a tiki bar. I think I said it should be a tiki bar. The point is that we'll just say MTM Vegas said it should be a tiki bar. Mark probably is the one who said it. But that is a great use of this space.
Yeah, and it just shows that this is like the third or fourth time something like this has happened, that we made a joke or said this is what they should do, and it ends up happening. So somebody out there is watching the show and stealing our ideas.
I mean, this is like the best idea to come out of Flamingo in a long time. I have praised them for getting rid of Carlos and Charlie's. A lot of people were upset about that. And obviously a long time venue in there. I totally understood the restaurant itself, but once they made the decision to kick them out, getting rid of that restaurant in the middle of the casino floor just opened it up a lot. And then you have this beautiful outdoor space with all the gardens around it. And to make it tiki, and I just feel like that's the perfect atmosphere on the Strip. And you can't really replicate that anywhere else because you only have this very special space. So I can't wait to see what they do. Hopefully they'll release some renderings and tell us more about it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, everybody knows I love tiki bars, and Vegas has some really great ones. And Flamingo's done a great job of kind of rehabbing this entire property. But I think they're missing this kind of fun. When Margaritaville went away, they're missing kind of this fun, just more low-key spot. Pinky's is great, but it's a different level. Like, you need to be kind of like dressed up, or not dressed up, but you need to be in that frame of mind, be willing to spend a bit more money. And I don't think these tiki drinks will be super cheap or anything, but I do think it'll be more approachable if you're walking through the casino. Be like, oh, let's go have a drink outside. It's beautiful weather right now. I think this fits in really well, and we'll drive to bring people in. Like, I'll go into Flamingo just to check this space out, and if it's really good and they pull it off, I'll go in there every time I'm on the Strip.
And it's a perfect fit with the theme, as you say, which not everything that's gone in there recently is. I mean, we still have the big country bar being built out on the street in the former Margaritaville space. We have Gordon Ramsay Burger in there, things like Pinky's by Vanderpump, all kinds of random stuff happening. The lobby is beautiful, but this just fits perfectly. It is the perfect decision for there, whether it's that. And, you know, when it was Carlos and Charlie's, I very rarely ever saw people out there. I don't feel like that patio was utilized nearly enough, and making it its own venue, I think, will help a lot.
Yeah, I don't think people really knew it was there, because you walk by, you see Carlos and Charlie's, you had to really go in because it kind of blocked your viewpoint to outside. So you had to go in and walk through it to really get that view, unless you see it from like an outside vantage point. But I think a lot of people just walked right by Carlos and Charlie's and said, oh, that vibe isn't for me. Where if they knew they could go outside and it's a little bit more chill, they would have done it.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. The Tiki Bar at Flamingo. Are you excited for that? Is it a good use of the space? Mad Apple closing. Another Cirque show bites the dust. Everything with T.I. and the food hall over at Circus, all that stuff. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, and we will be back on Friday with another show. Dive more into that Bally situation, see what's going on there, and other stuff as well. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
We got an O joke and a Chris Angel joke. Perfection. Have a good week, everybody.
For one of us.